could just wipe themselves out.
Oh yeah,
I'm still in still. Jesus, get closer. Good God. Okay, fixed. There's 30 something, isn't there? I just realised my microphone could be heard during the startup broadcast. Welcome in, guys.
And look at that lovely introduction. You guys got to see the track sort of fade in slowly. It was an interesting introduction. Camera work provided behind the scenes by Nathan Shibby Howard. My name is Scotty Rattlegun Rankin. And tonight, the DSL Welding Services NASTRUCKS series brought to you by Nathan. We have a new sponsor, and the first thing I've done is mess up remembering how to say their name properly.
It's Warren and Brown Tools.
Warren and Brown. I was about to say Will and Brown, so I'm glad I didn't. Warren and Brown presents the DSL Welding Services NASTRUCKS. We are less than a minute into our broadcast, and yeah, it's there on the screen, and I failed to read that as well. Qualifying already underway for the NASCAR Truck Series here tonight from Talladega. If you've ever seen Talladega Nights, well then, this is a racing movie made SRW style. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. We'll be podcasting for all the ages as we go super speedway racing for the one and only time this season. We're in the hunt now to the final few rounds. Points are tighter than they've ever been, with the Fishy Boys not showing up last week to the Dirt Oval round from Knoxville. The Tinder teammates played Tinder tag and went toe-to-toe with themselves from, well, there's no way to say it with a T, lights out to flag. But they did control the top end of town very traumatically for the trailing trio of Temptation. I'll give up now, I swear. But qualifying is underway. That's what you need to know. Guy Schultz has jumped to the top. Kobe Jordan's there alongside of him. It's going to be a long night with all of that being the starting point here. Now, how are you doing on your lovely Monday evening?
We're doing good, mate. I always forget it's Monday. I feel like the weekend just disappears too quick, and we're back to the start of the week again. And you guys probably noticed, no cameras tonight, guys. Sorry about that. It's still a work in progress. It's something we are definitely working on to get our beautiful faces back on screen. But I'd like to say thank you for joining us tonight.
Where are you coming from? What would you like us to talk about during the podcast that we'll be taking to this evening? What's going to interest you as the guys get underway? Right, we have precisely a minute worth of qualifying left, and then we'll be underway with our race format for this evening. We're going to be going for 55 laps of the 2.5-mile super speedway of Talladega. It has 4 turns. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first part of turn 1, the second part of turn 1, the first part of turn 2, and the second part of turn 2, except for, divided up into 4. There's your racetrack. Slight kink on the front stretch, and the start-finish line is on the flat between the kink and turn number 1. So Wade Sheedy on his run down the back stretch at the moment slotted himself into P number 2 ahead of Kobe Jordan. So with the Platinum Racing teammates lining up on the front row of the grid. Peter Morris is lining up P9.
Old Sipper Meter's been getting some practice in.
Yes.
He bloody loves these trucks, doesn't he? He's ready for next season already, and we haven't even finished this one.
Well, we are about to go into our race with 3 seconds left on qualifying. It's now come to a close. That'll be it. We'll move ourselves right along. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, your DSL Welding Services NASTRUCKS series, proudly brought to you by Warren and Brown for the first time ever, is going to get itself underway in a few moments. This is how they line up. It is Blake Delaney at the tail end who's going to snatch that front row lockout from Platinum Racing. He will take the pole off alongside of Jai Schultz. Wade Sheedy will take off of the inside of row number 2. Alongside of him will be Kobe Jordan, Joel Berkeley, and Bradley Oldfield. The Tinder cars are managing to put themselves right up towards the front end of the pack. And then it's going to be Matty Skulls, Right Sim Racing, the first of the Right Sim Racing cars, off alongside Logan Barnett. Hayden Norris and Peter Morris are going to be there. Norris and Morris, P9 and P10. That's not going to give us any issues at all. Robert Griffiths and Alan Dawson are going to round out your first 12 cars on the grid. Then we're going to throw it back to our next row of cars.
Yeah, yep.
We are?
I'm getting there. For some reason, it's disappeared off my SDK. It's just gone.
Look, I tell you what, I'll just walk through them. You look at those top 12. They've put their names down as the fastest 12, so they get their names up in glory for a while longer yet. Harry Stewart, Gary Redcliffe, James Rice, Peter Gretton, Stefan Lawrence, Jared Steen, George Minus, Greg Leake, Christopher Tomlin, Aidan Schultz, Matty Keane, Troy Mortensen, Nathan Gore, Glenn McLeod, Michael Locke, Andy Barber, Paul Bryan, and Kai Turner. Going to round out the tail end of the field. There are 31 cars in attendance. One of those is our safety car driver, Stefan McCartan. the milk carton as he's affectionately known. And that will get us our starting grid. So 30 cars to take to the high bank surfaces in the fastest track of the season, Pack Racing. Who can tame the super speedways? Last season, Dylan DeBona was the first driver who wanted to get aggressive and go 3 wide in the early running. 55 laps here, 1 stop for fuel minimum to get home. Maximum fuel distance, we don't quite know, but we do know it's 70% fuel limit. So I would say they would probably be able to get home on 1 stop, particularly if we get any safety cars in this one whatsoever.
Which I think I've got money on 6 safety cars.
You're right up there.
Yeah, I was watching practice.
You've been doing research. Look at you. I'm so proud.
And honestly, who can't love Talladega? It is built for a show of incidents. I feel it's just, they built this track because they knew it was going to cause chaos.
They built this city on rock and roll.
They did. And rock and roll being trucks with welded diffs and fast engines with no brakes.
They took dinner plates from your lounge room and decided that they look good on the cars enough so that will serve as braking.
Yeah, it definitely works in cases like 1 time out of 10 when they get on the brakes, the truck will stop. The other 9 times out of 10, they'll use the truck in front of them to make sure they stop.
Nathan, you've been watching practice. You're so, I can just hear you're just so keen to get underway here tonight, aren't you?
If I was on camera right now, man, you'd see the grin from ear to ear just knowing what's ahead of us tonight.
The childish grin.
I can't help it. I love seeing good racing, but there's something about a good crash. It's entertaining.
Okay. New thing, throw good racing out the window. Only accidents. 55 laps of pacing. Great racing.
55 laps of pacing and then NASCAR overtime. What a way to finish.
Shout out to Peter Morris out there on Streamland, who's the first man to chop in from Facebook, it looks like Peter Morris chimed in from. Hey boys, g'day Peter. What topic do you want us to talk about under safety car pacing here tonight, Peter? What can we fill your evening with?
I know what he's filling his evening with every time he gets a safety car. He doesn't have the old sipper meter on the back of his truck for no reason.
It's there for a good reason. Wait, is it a good reason? Who knows? Who cares?
Look, we don't condone drink driving, so I'm pretty sure Peter Morris just said in the chat he's drinking grape juice.
Peter Grattan will start from pit lane alongside Andy Barber. Pace car is now into the lane. We are getting set. We are green. And Delaney's going to jump out to an early lead. It'll be interesting to see if Jai Schultz on the outside will slot in behind him. Indeed, he does. So they will single file themselves out up at the front. Drivers starting to file themselves out of pit lane as well. This is Talladega. This is the DSL Welding Services NASCAR Trucks Series. Getting no support immediately, the Platinum teammates are going to take control of the field. They will form up together straight away. An energized Highland. It looks like the whole field is single filed out. Is this NASCAR? No, surely not.
We've got a wide track. Where's the 3 wide?
Kobe Jordan, I think, started from pit lane as well, yeah. Look, there's one driver chilling out in that outside lane. He's going to fall to the back because he's got no support. There's 2 drivers starting to follow their way up in the outside lane. Don't tell me that's teammates.
You don't want your teammate to be on the inside or outside, right? In this is draft and pack racing, so you're going to want to do exactly what the Tinder car guys are doing and hold that draft with each other and push everybody else out of the way, right?
Scalzi will lead the Riot Sim racing cars around the outside. Looks like a fair few guys are just chilling out. They're doing some fuel saving. If Jai Schultz and Wade Sheedy want to lean and want to burn all that glorious go-go juice, they can go with it, says the field.
Is this a high burn track?
Yeah, very high burn. It's 100% throttle the whole way round.
That sounds great.
You're going to have to mix up another cup of go-go juice, aren't you, Shippy?
I'm drinking water. That's my go-go juice. I'm a huge water fan. I drink too much sometimes.
You're not a watermelon sugar fan, are you?
No, that is going to be our sound test from now on.
So for those of you who don't get to play witness to the pre-show, I jumped in here tonight singing my merry little happiness away. and Shibby decided that yes, he would sing away with me. It was great. We got our audio levels nice and balanced early.
Well, I hope so. There's a good chance that one of us could be a little louder than the other, but look, we only do what we can do with while we're singing Watermelon Sugar, so...
Wine.
We're off to a very tame start. I feel like let's get on board with some of these boys in the middle of the pack, and let's see what they're seeing. That is a steep track.
Yeah, it is. Lots of banking. You know what? I'm going to do some Wikipediaing right now so I can tell you exactly how steep that track is.
I would love to know, to be honest. That'd be awesome. Just realized, too, if you guys are seeing a bit of... Oh, you might not be seeing the frame drops. I haven't capped my FPS at 60, so it's probably still trying to push higher than the stream can actually push out. We've got a yellow flag. What have we missed? What did we miss? It's at the back. We've got Paul Bryan, last season's champion, off the track there. Looks like he's taken a fair bit of damage, so it's not looking good.
So I was actually wrong. Troy Mortensen is crabbing. That car is not capable of driving straight at all. He has so much left hand down just to go straight.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Get a zoomed in shot. It's not the shot I wanted. There we go. We can see the way he is turning that steering wheel. His right hand is at, what, 90 degrees to keep his car straight.
That orange stripe that's on the steering wheel, that is where the center of the steering wheel should generally be about B. So generally, what they'll actually have in these NASCARs is they'll have a little bit of tape. So they have center marked on that steering wheel so that they can line that wheel up perfectly when they get in. And then they'll have another little bit of tape so they run what they call a steering offset. Oh!
Okay. Let's do a bit of movie magic.
Four wide coming down the front stretch as Aiden Schultz takes the inside. That's a little bit pinchy on both sides. There's enough room for them there. The issue is, though, that Brian is running that white line. He's got one tire either side of that white line, and I saw Mortensen coming down the track.
What a flip. That's, oh no. And the poor guy's behind as well. So there we go. That's why the number 23 car was crab walking, and it doesn't look like it's over yet. They are still going. That is a big hit. Oh, and backwards into the wall as well. Well, we're off to a good start.
You've already been treated to something that you wanted, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I said 6 safety cars, and I feel like I might have actually underguessed how many safety cars we were going to have tonight. So,
oh Lord. Well, starting our caution count off early.
Should get one of those set up for races like this.
Should?
Yeah,
absolutely should.
If you guys know about Talladega, and the chaos it can cause, yeah, let us know how many safety cars you think we're going to pin tonight. All I'm really caring about is when the last one falls. Man, I'm missing a good NASCAR overtime. I feel like this could be the track that gives it to us.
You have been missing out, haven't you? You've just been craving some NASCAR overtime. The boys have been good to us this... Well, the boys have been bad to us this season, but they've been very, very clean this season. I will say that much. Not been in all the NASCAR overtime.
They have. It's been absolutely phenomenal clean racing. Seems we went from last season having pretty much a NASCAR overtime for majority of the races, and now, like, I need my fix.
Scalzi's made his way up to the outside of the front row, and it looks like... Have a look at that. Alan Dawson, P2 in the outside row. And Hayden Norris, P3 in the outside row. That's perfect. The Right Sim Racing boys got to completely queue up here at this next restart. That is formation.
Hopefully we'll see them use that to their benefit. Get that triple draft running.
I was talking to a few of those boys. They'd actually put in a fair bit of practice at the Right Sim Racing boys this week at bump drafting each other correctly. Now, this is something that you'd think that the Tinder boys would probably be quite good at.
From what we saw last week on the dirt, we know they're good at racing near each other.
But the Right Sim Racing boys said they'd done a ton of practice bump drafting. Now, having said that, they then went on to say that it was probably going to be one of them getting turned by another one of them. So I don't know how high quality the practice was, but they did practice.
Well, some practice is better than no practice, so we're definitely going to find out what's going on. And welcome to the stream, Kai Sloggett. That is definitely a new name to our Monday night NASTRUCKS, so welcome in, mate. Nice to see you. Whereabouts in the world do you hail from?
So the thing is, when you broadcast late on an evening in Australia, it tends to be prime time for the rest of the world.
It's
Now,
very
I have
early morning.
Yeah, I have a question to ask you, and it's about the Dirt Oval series. Are you intending upon racing this week, my dear friend?
The plan is yes. I've missed 2 rounds, which is really upsetting, but I'm not last. I looked at the points today, and I was actually really impressed of like where I was sitting. So, and I had a blast last week until I was taken out, which is, you know, it's racing, it's dirt ovals. What am I supposed to do? So, yes, I want to be back in the sim tomorrow.
I'm on the fence about coming to join you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's the dirt track at Charlotte. And for those of you who don't know, Charlotte was actually the regular oval, not the dirt version, was actually the first oval track that we went to as a part of Sim Racing World's NASCAR Truck Series.
Oh, true.
Trivia, SRW trivia.
I love some trivia. Fun facts is what I like to call them. So, Kai Sloggett has tuned in and has said Kai Turner is his father. So that's awesome to see the family getting in here and supporting the family, of course. So,
is it sad my first response was my sincerest condolences?
Take everything with a grain of salt, guys. We're here for a laugh. It's a bit unfortunate. It looks like Kai is actually doing a bit of blinking at the moment. So hopefully that fixes up. But there you go, mate. There's your dad on the broadcast for you.
To be fair, my parents actually said my sincerest condolences to my wife on our wedding day. So,
you know what my parents say to me? How did she even agree to marry you?
I have it in writing that my wife said yes at least 4 or 5 times because I had to keep checking. Anyway,
I've got a contract that says yes, so...
Josh Schultz is going to lead us away, and the Platinum Sim Racing guys on the inside yet again. That is look from the rear bumper, as Matty Skulls is going to get shuffled a little bit out here. Be interesting to see whether or not they try and control both the draft lanes here, or whether Wade Sheedy is going to try and continue to support his teammate while saving as much fuel. The problem with leading the queue as in a team is that one of you is not going to have enough fuel, or one of you is going to have to stop for more fuel.
That's right, because you're taking the brunt of the guys behind you. So you're using more energy in your engine to move forwards. Wow, these guys are super close to each other.
Well, you got to bump draft. That's how it works. You've actually got to. The fastest way to go is actually to be in contact. When you're on the leading car, you want the car behind you connected to you. The instant you come off that corner, the instant the car's settled on the straight, you want those 2 cars to be bumper to bumper. And the lead car will actually drag their brakes slightly so that they get connected early. Whilst they're turning, the cars are a little bit unloaded and they're not altogether happy about that. Actually, is that Chris Tomlin who's looking to form up a third lane already?
It is, mate, it is.
Or, alternatively, I think he's been forced out of that middle lane. I think that there was a gap there at one point and he just had to shuffle slightly high and then he just didn't get back in time.
I'm assuming with how close they're drafting that a bit of side draft isn't really going to play a fact here. Like, there's going to be so much dirty air from, 4 or 5 cars pushing that air off them. Matty Keen.
Jump in. Josh Schultz with a little bit of a blink, which will not be making everyone feel comfortable. 3 wide in the early stages of this thing. We are on lap 9. and the second green flag period of the race. They're going to start forming up in that outside lane. We're not pushing relatively hard at the front. Now Sheedy and Schultz will start to connect themselves up together here. It's going to be on these middle lane guys to start to get organised as well, because they want to shut down that run in the outside lane. It's only 2 cars. The more cars you have together in a queue, generally the faster that queue will go. Looking to slot in there was Tomlin. Now he's got an overlap towards the outside. Cannot slot in. Now he gets down next to him. He'll side draft him away from the lead.
Oh,
Rising Racing Cars barrier, and we'll have to check up. That's lost Matty Keane a whole bunch of spots as well.
Oh, that was close. He did so well to not hit that wall and spear down into... Wow, how many cars were there? There was 6 to 9 cars that just could have been absolutely taken out of a race in an instant.
That's a weird one, because he thinks there may have been some contact there. There would have only been netcode. Those cars were a mile apart. He was not happy, Chris Tomlin. Oh, the Tinder car's got a big wiggle on the bottom lane. And Delaney's going to shove his nose in there yet again. Sydney is the call for Kai Turner and Kai Sloggett joining us from Sydney. Greg Leakes just made contact with the rear bumper of a car in the Battle of the Pack, and I've just seen Aiden Schultz starting to make some moves in the outside lane. He is who Matty Keane will actually start to hook back up with, so keep your eyes peeled on those two. I think they're going to slot back down into the inside lane yet again. Indeed they will.
These cars, this is the closest I've seen the whole pack. Apart from a couple too at the back, but this is the closest I've seen our whole field of drivers stick together throughout the series.
Yeah, because that happens at super speedways. That's how super speedways work.
In most cases, though, we get a bit of a gap. Like, there's a little bit of a fall off in the mid-pack, and we get, like, a bit more of a gap, like, you know, half a second to a second. But these guys are just on top of each other right now.
Yeah, it's super speedway lesson time. That's how super speedways work. Okay, so what they have is they have a restrictor plate in the engine. So what was going on is the late 90s, early 2000s, the racing was getting faster, the cars were getting faster, and the racing was getting more and more dangerous. And cars were starting to flip over because they just had too much power for the amount of downforce and whatnot they had, and the pack-style racing that were having at the super speedways of Daytona and Talladega. So NASCAR, in all their brightest wisdom, decided that, well, one of the ways we can make everything safer is by slowing things down. So they went and put a restrictor plate in all the engines. So now these engines, whenever they come to a super speedway race, Daytona and Talladega, are the two, they actually have a restrictor plate put in their engines, reduces their maximum horsepower. So what that's actually done is force the cars to stay a lot closer together. So it's hard, it's near impossible. You can't do it. You basically cannot do it. Pull away.
Matty Keane just rubbed the wall, and that's dropped him back a lot of spots then. Wow, look at these guys go. This is phenomenal. Oh, Paul Bryan again. No. What has happened? That was a big hit off the wall there.
It's still green. It's still green. Shoot, there we go.
Right, that's good. While we have a look at this, I've actually got to... Sorry, guys. I got to adjust something in the graphics settings.
As you can see, Shibby drives on a wheel. There was a wheel hooked up there.
Yeah, I do have a wheel, yeah. I've just got a, the grandstand and the crowds on this. Even though I've got a pretty beefy system, the grandstand and crowds on this are absolutely murdering it right now. So I was noticing some frame drops, and I want to get that smooth so you guys get a smooth experience. So let's kick that back a little bit and have a look at this this replay. So we did see Paul Bryan get involved there. The only thing I've got is a Peter Morris coming off track. So I'm going to... Oh, yep, there we go. Right in the middle of it. Let's do a bit of movie magic.
That was a sandwich.
Oh, that's a big sandwich. Oh, okay. So let's start...
That's actually on Greg Leake. You don't want to... So remember what I was talking about? You don't want to bump draft in the corners. It's to check up a few cars up ahead.
I see.
And Leakey has missed reading that by probably about a meter or two. It wouldn't have been much further, and he would have been perfectly pulled up and not made contact. But that is what's going on there.
We could see that they're trying to get that bump draft nice and close, and then yeah, just bump that left corner instead of the full rear of the car. We got Mr.
We
Peter
can't-
Morris in track, mate. We got you on the replay, buddy. We got you, mate.
Did we though? Did we really?
Oh, mate, I can. You want me to throw some more angles in there? I can do that.
Mate, I want you to throw slow-mos. I want you to go upside down underneath his car.
All right, now you're upside down under his car. Actually, can we do that? I did have that camera set up. Remember, we could look at the suspension. There we go. See,
Yep. That's
some great viewing. Some great viewing.
Yep.
All right, so that is a huge. That is the whole field. That is the whole field into pits.
Yeah, because you can make it home from here, I think, is what they're all thinking.
Well, can they? Can they make it home?
Or guarantees a one-stop. One of those things. Look, don't ask me. I set up the servers and I still don't know.
That's great. That's good to know. That fills me with confidence.
Show my car, please. Is
Yeah.
literally the comment from me. All right, so I'm looking at trivia on Talladega Superspeedway, or nicknamed Dega, was formerly Alabama International Motor Speedway from 1969 to 1989, and is located north of Talladega, Alabama. It is on the former Anniston Air Force Base in the small city of Lincoln, and was built. The current version of the track was built in 1969. Yeah.
69.
During the 1960s, William France, so it was built by the France family. William France wanted to build a track faster and longer than he also owned Daytona International Speedway at the same time. After failed attempts to reason with local government in the Orange County near North Carolina, with Occoneechee Speedway, he attempted to find a new spot for a racetrack and make his idea a reality, failing to secure a location near the Research Triangle around Raleigh, which is all the way over on the East Coast. France then looked around between Atlanta and Charlotte to build the track. There's a whole bunch of gesturing and posturing. And then he bought an old airfield and decided to build it where it is now. So, yep. Okay, this is actually a British-style track after all because it was built in an old airfield. There you go. That's all you need to know.
All good British tracks were built on old airfields.
Weren't they?
Yeah, I think they were.
Is it even a British track if it wasn't built on an airfield?
No, I don't think it is. It doesn't count. Esports Adrenaline, thanks for dropping in, guys. So Kai's had to log out. Oh, so he can't watch because it was making his dad blink while watching the stream.
What I was going to say that I thought it was
Yeah.
as well.
I keep forgetting that Australia's internet is worse than some third world countries. It's honestly a problem here. It's something that we really need to get a hold of. So, our top esports contenders, especially in iRacing, can, enjoy their racing instead of dealing with terrible internet. Hashtag, we need a petition starting now.
Not going to happen. Good try.
Good try. Half of Australia still has copper lines. Good luck to you.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast tonight. And it is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, who we just announced today, Warren and Brown Tools. They are our series sponsor. Pagnian is our stream sponsor. No, wait, I've got that wrong. Warren and Brown is the round sponsor, sorry. DSL Welding is our series sponsor. And Pagnian Advanced Simulation are our stream sponsor. Also, don't forget to shout out the promo department. So thank you very much to all our sponsors. We appreciate everything you do for us to keep our league and our broadcast running. So if we can we get a like for all our sponsors that help us do this?
2 bits of information I've just noticed under this caution. So Troy Mortensen and Nathan Gore were the 2 cars that had fallen a lap down prior to that caution being triggered. They're both now back on the lead lap. Not Kobe Jordan. My apologies. Who did I just say? I literally just said his name. Troy Mortensen will get his lap back through the way of the lucky dog, and Nathan Gore will take a wave around, which means he won't pit under that caution, but he still will get his lap back, and that's the important part that he was after.
So everybody is still on the lead lap.
That's it. That's the
That's
benefit of
awesome.
super speedway
Let's
racing.
go.
So safety car is going to file itself down pit lane. Jai Schultz on the inside, Alan Dawson to the outside. Skulls, he's broken up the Platinum Racing Party at the front end of the field. And now it's going to be handed over to the right Sim Racing boys in the Tinder cars. Schultz is holding them here. Holding them. Green flag basically is any time once that safety car checks the pit lane, and they're into the Geico restart zone, and away they go. Geico restart zone not in effect. It's a setting you can actually turn on. Has now been enabled as part of the iRacing service. So that has now been turned on, but these guys not making use of that one this evening. That is the view from the rear bumper of Matty Skulls in that inside lane. That outside lane's starting to get some momentum up. As they
the
just
Platinum
all
car.
abandon Jai Schultz. Nobody interested in supporting Schultz at all.
He just dropped back so fast. Well, that number 9 Tinder car out on the... We got a couple of cars trying to ride that outside. So we've got Matty Keane and Chris Tomlin still trying to push that outside line.
Well,
Maybe.
I mean, they've got control of the inside lane, and now they're going to try and make it into the outside lane. Schultz managed to hang on to space, and now Schultz has found a teammate will force it back out. We're 3 wide at the front, 3 wide in the mid-pack, and if they got even, it would have been 3 wide into 4 wide right the way through. They managed to get through there, at least, though. So everyone reasonably happy for now.
I did see a bit of wiggling in between that 3 wide section. Oh, my gosh. Any little bit of movement puts me on edge with how close they are.
Oh, word. It is getting aggressive early. We are... What are we? We're about a third of the way through the race at this point, so everyone's starting to get their shuffle on, getting aggressive.
Only one way to win a race, and that's on the first corner.
You've been watching it. Did you manage to get back to your Arca Break Weekly yet, or are you still sort of...
I just watch it occasionally now. I'll just throw like on an episode every now and again instead of just binge watching like 10 episodes in a row. It became a problem, man. I don't know why you ever told me about it.
Oh, Lord. Well, they've settled themselves down.
Yellow flag.
It's at the tail end of the pack, so it's not the leaders. The leaders will try and break themselves down.
Appear. Yep.
Oh, no.
No, Pete. Put the grape juice down, mate. Or pick it up, depending on how you're feeling at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it may make it better. It may make it worse. Who knows?
Okay.
Whoa!
We've got cars doing barrel rolls. Wow, that was a interesting display.
I'll tell you what, though, that's the perfect place to put a sponsor. Kai Turner, actually.
Okay, so there is some drafting at the back here. Let's get a top view. So we are looking at Pete, but I think it starts in front. Oh, Pete's looked like he got off the accelerator then. And the car behind him has just run up his bottom.
Yep.
That is what it looks like.
So Matty Keane has tapped the barrier, and he's done his best to stay up there.
Oh, yep. So Matty Keane's hit the barrier. Pete's sort of, I think it looked like he, that made me dizzy. Don't do that again, Chibi. Pete's let off to avoid any sort of incidents. Guy was too close behind him, and...
Well, no, Kai wouldn't have even seen it. All Kai would have seen
That's what I meant. He was so close behind him that there was just nothing. It was never going to end happily.
I tell you what, I don't. If there's anything I don't want to be, it's that engine right now. Oh yeah, it's come from Chris Tomlin up ahead as well. That's the second time Tomlin would have been into that outside barrier as well.
Oh, so it's actually started ahead, has it?
Yes. So the SLM boys think that Tomlin's hit the outside barrier. So this is the second time that Matty Keane and Chris Tomlin have been towards that outside barrier. No?
Matty Keane's in the barrier there. You can see clearly that the 38 car is in the barrier.
Keane's in on his own.
And Tomlin is still moving ahead quite smoothly. I didn't see any drop off from him, but yeah, Matty Keane was definitely in that barrier.
It's just bobbling at the tail end of the field. Guys
Flip.
moving. You're enjoying that, aren't you? Thoroughly enjoying it too.
A little bit. I still, like, I feel bad for the guys that do get taken out of a race, especially if they're having a good race. It's not something I wish to happen, but like, I can't not say I don't like seeing a good crash, because, yeah, I don't want to lie.
You can lie to me. It's okay. I'll understand.
I don't like seeing these guys crash at all. I don't want to see it ever happen on another broadcast.
You're having fun tonight, aren't you? Is this
The more,
is this what you live for?
the more I do the tracks with you, mate, and the more I get to, be heard instead of being behind the producing deck all the time, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I really am. I think this is a great series to get on.
Ooh.
Especially having someone as knowledgeable as yourself to, teach me through oval racing. Because as you know, I do like a bit of oval racing. I like both on tarmac and oval. So, I mean, on dirt.
I've been driving a ton of dirt this week. I'm enjoying myself thoroughly, I will say.
That's good fun. Like when we had the sorry, when we had the, I've totally forgot what it's called. The dirt series last season.
Oh, the dirt oval round, yeah.
No, last season when we had the rally cross. The rally cross. Man, I drove the VW Beetle and the Focus. I was like, the Fiesta. I was like, what is that racing? Yeah, I had a blast in the rally cross.
More of it, yeah.
I grew up on country towns, man. That's like learning to drive dirt was one of those things we had to do. You had no choice. There was no tar roads, apart from usually the main road in and out of town.
The main street.
The main street. Yeah.
I think my favorite thing was driving. There's a town, in the middle of nowhere, and I can't recall the name of it. My wife might be able to help me out here in the background if she's listening. But there's this random town in the middle of nowhere, and there's a cattle grid when you drive into town. And when you drive out the other side, there's another cattle grid. And there's just cows just walking down the main street. Completely. Do you remember where it was? It's somewhere between Armidale, Glen Ennis, and Inverell. It's sort of in that triangle area. I don't.
Okay. So out the back of Ballina.
Way out the back of Ballina.
Hang on. No, you said Innisfail, and I thought of a total different...
No. Inverell,
not
Innisfail.
Inverell, right.
Inverell.
I thought you said Innisfail. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's an Innisfail on your behalf.
I just, honestly, sometimes when you're talking, I don't listen as much as I probably should.
Yeah, that sounds like you. Right, we are gearing ourselves back up to go green flag racing yet again. There's the double file on their run down the back straight.
So that's 3 now, isn't it?
Yes.
On our way to that
6.
6, yeah.
We're not halfway yet.
Nearly, yeah, very close. Oh, we're 30 minutes in.
Yeah, but we've, just because we're 30 minutes in doesn't mean much.
I had a really good joke there, but I thought I'll keep it to myself for after the broadcast.
Well done.
Yeah, it was about filling the fuel up. Oi! Oh, no. Oh, man. I don't know why, but I thought that Tinder car had just got unhinged. But no, he's just wobbling around a little bit there. I hope everybody had an awesome Father's Day. And happy belated Father's Day to everyone out there. I had a pretty nice Father's Day. I got to do some iRacing, which is... very rare for me to be able to do nowadays.
That is a gift to you.
It was awesome. We are back green.
Well, we're going to be green flag once again.
Jai Schultz leading the pack with his teammate Wade Sheedy right behind him, as well as Matty Scholes, and the rest of the Riot boys there as well.
They're getting quite aggressive now, aren't they? The Riot Sim Racing boys, hanging it
you,
around the high side.
you can see them all getting really aggressive now, moving around, trying to slot into a different spot every time they get a bit of aero chance. Mr. Andrew Proctor asked, what did the fathers get? I got this awesome miniature quarter-size keyboard, which I'm really enjoying for gaming instead of working. And I got a day without the wife and kids, so it was amazing.
Yeah, I got a reminder that I'm not actually a father and that I shouldn't be allowed to tell father's jokes on broadcast.
But you have a father.
I do have a dad, yes. I got him my love and attention. And I need to call my mother to arrange gifts.
For next year, right? Or are you talking about yesterday?
No, I'm gonna mail up something. See, my dad actually got pneumonia actually last week. He was actually starting to feel better yesterday. So yeah, they thought it was COVID for a fair while, but yeah, I called him midweek, and yeah, he had pneumonia. So.
Oh gosh, well I hope he's better now.
He is, yeah, he was better by Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone that's actually out there. I don't know what I'll buy him. I still don't know. My dad is so difficult to buy for.
Yeah,
Socks,
I just video called my dad. That was about it. Man, look how close these guys are getting to the back of each other. That's not the view I wanted. This is the view I wanted. Get that beautiful shot of Schultz's platinum. There's too many Schultz. No, there's Skulls and Schultz. Oh my lord.
That Aiden and Jai are too many. Oh no.
That's not a good sign.
And see what I mean about bump drafting? That's exactly it. Made contact. Now they'll move down in front because they got the run on the inside line. So they're trying to control that inside lane.
So these guys are pretty clear at the moment, with a couple of guys pulling on the right-hand side. Oh.
So the Riot boys will reform on that outside line. Now, critically, if he'd have moved up and there was a car immediately in behind him to immediately shove him forward, they would have gone surging to the front because there was a gap back there. Look at the checking up. It's causing the mid-pack, and Paul Bryan's in the fence again. Nathan Gore is sideways, cars scattering everywhere.
Oh, Matty Keane.
No Pete! Oh, he nearly got through. Oh. He did everything he could have done to avoid that one.
That was, from what I could see at the end there, a big wreck. While we've got a bit of a yellow flag for our fourth one, Andrew Proctor has said he got a deck of dad jokes and did 300 plus laps at Daytona, which is absolutely amazing. We've also got a new viewer from Facebook, Renee with the exclamation mark notify. If you are watching us on Facebook and you don't know yet, type exclamation mark notify in chat to get notified of every time we go live. So thank you for joining us, Renee. It's nice to see new people always joining in on our broadcasts.
Much appreciated, Renee. How was your Father's Day? Did you call your dad? Get involved? This is going to be the view from one of the Tinder cars. George Minor's down there on the inside. That's Nathan Gore to the outside. I know this is right where it happened because I was watching Nathan Gore at the time on my screen. There's a little wiggle out of line.
Oh, it's there. And then cars just scatter.
It was actually not Paul Bryan that was involved in it. It was his teammate, Gary Redcliffe.
Yeah, Gary Redcliffe. You can see that. Should be working cameras.
So remember how I said that the cars up front pulled down a line and somebody drifted up to the top line? That was actually caused by that. Oh!
Right
Greg gets through there!
Wow.
No way Greg Lee gets through there!
That was a huge scatter of cars. Hashtag Facebook gaming. Oh, hang on, let me just check.
Does that do something? Might have to learn something about Facebook gaming.
It's not fully set up yet. It is something that I should really be working on. It's not too hard to do. But we may actually, in the comms booth, unless we're watching Facebook itself, we probably won't see those commands. As I use a joint chat so I can monitor everything. But thank you, Renee, for reminding me that I am actually able to do that, as I once was a Facebook streamer myself. Yeah, the
Well,
command's not set up.
if you want to go for an onboard, go and watch it from Greg Leake's shoes, because he managed to get through there by the barest of margins. And when
Deal.
I'm talking the barest of margins, I'm talking slim margins. So that's the view from the rear end of one of the Tinder cars. That's the view from the rear of Greg Leake as he's getting pushed towards this thing. Watch the cars scatter. They've all gone low. They've all gone high.
Oh,
Nathan Gore spins by. And he's through. And he's out the other side. And he's clear.
Well done, Leaky. That was nuts. I don't know if that was skill or luck, but I'm going to put it down to skill.
He'll enjoy that you said that about him.
Mate,
I know he will.
Great driver. Got nothing
Speaking
but
of Greg
respect
Leake.
for Leaky.
Speaking of Greg Leakey, we'll actually talk to him and his teammate tonight. Not quite Greg, but Greg in Greek, I think it is, isn't it, Leakey? George?
George is Greek for Greg.
Okay, yeah. Mate, we just had the onboard of our life of watching you getting through that wreck.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Did you just kept the foot to the floor? Just
flat out.
Hope? Yep. Thought so. Georgie, your first time into the commentary booth by the sounds of things. How's your night going towards the middle? You've managed to get through there along with Leakey. You both survived that one.
Oh, I've got damage though from that last accident, so we'll see how it goes.
Just follow Leakey. Just follow Leakey everywhere. That's all you need to do.
But he can't keep it straight.
Now, talk to us. This is the first time we've had two Team Greg members in the commentary booth at the same time. Talk to us a little bit about Team Greg. What's the culture like? What's the reason for Team Greg? Obviously, there's two Gregs in it, and a Greek Greg.
It's all about fun, buddy. All about fun.
That's all.
I hear you've been jumping in endurance racing cars lately as well, which is something you're completely new to.
Yeah, and I'm blaming you for that.
I'm blaming you for asking me about it. If you hadn't have said anything, I never would have done it.
Yeah, well, now I'm hooked.
So does that mean the 12-hour Suzuka, I think, is coming up later in the year, a 10-hour Suzuka? You going to come do that in GT3 cars with me?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, done. George, you booked in for a car?
Yes.
Okay, done. There you go. Wow, that was easy.
Yeah, you can't blame him if you're having fun, right?
That's right.
Am I also the same reason that you're riding around, both of you were riding around in a NASCAR truck car?
George is the reason I'm doing this.
George, mate, come on. You convinced him to do it and he's beating you. I mean, that's not good enough, mate.
Oh, it's okay.
Hey, totally early.
Leakey, I think you're supposed to be in the outside line here. One of you is supposed to be in the outside line.
Okay, 20. Car 20. Which one? This one. So you're talking to me.
Well, they're getting back to going green flag at the end of this lap, boys. You guys have fun. I'll move you back up to your respective chat rooms.
Thank you.
Good luck,
Thanks, mate.
guys. Great
Thanks,
talking
boys.
to you.
Thanks, guys. See yous.
All right. So Renee, who has joined us tonight, is an absolute huge race fan and says, I love NASCAR Truck Series. Well, please join us every Monday night. This is what we do every Monday. We run a podcast.
I mean, yes, but there's also racing on in the background. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There is. Yeah, I can see that on the screen now.
One of the benefits, I think the biggest benefit of the NASCAR Truck Series is we get to bring drivers up here during caution periods.
I actually have really been enjoying that. I think we need to keep doing it. I think that's a really great thing to get a bit of an insight and hear about our drivers and our teams in our league, because we have quite a big league and a lot of different teams and drivers. So it's great
there's
to...
a little bit too much going on during road course races, even under caution periods, to sort of grab those guys. But this is a unique opportunity.
As we are just about to go green again.
I was actually looking for point scores. Now, I'm the one that did the point scores, so they should be right, and I don't know where I put...
The point scores are in Discord under
I know.
season results.
Yeah,
Do
I
you want me
did
to bring them up for you?
Oh, you've done that. Oh, we're going to go back green flag racing. Well, we'll get to points in a moment because it's actually getting quite close. And with 2 more rounds left after this one, Talladega and Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old course prior to it being repaved into a super speedway. As Matty Sculls, the right sim racing cars, get to the head of the queue, Paul Bryan decides it's go time with 3 wide for P number 3. And down the inside, Jared Steiner's got a whole head of steam, and he is going forward to the front. The Riot Sim Racing boys haven't organised to their best abilities. Some side drafting going on as well. The pack is chasing. Leakey's been shuffled in and out. George Minus is now moving on the front foot, and he's going to join up with Jared Steen in that inside lane.
What a absolute bunch of... Oh!
Oh! In front of the field, Paul Bryan makes
no.
contact with the rear bumper. And that was one of the Riot Sim Racing cars. So who's got through? It was Skulls, Dawson. I think it's Aiden Norris he's made contact with. It would have been the 20 car. So yeah, that's Aiden Norris.
Yep. We're up to 5, mate. I think I've picked too little.
Lowballed it. Yep.
I have. I've lowballed it. See, new to truck racing at Talladega. So
I was going to say this would be a great opportunity to get the Riot Sim Racing boys into the commentary booth, but given what's just happened to Aiden Norris, we'll give them some time to settle down. I think first. Oh, huge whack to Greg Leake, and the guy that's on the bottom has just had no opportunity to get through anywhere. I think that's Jai Schultz that's now down the track, and Matty Keen's taking the most amount of avoiding action he possibly can. Look at the cars scatter. Look at the fishy motorsport cars trying to hang on to each other.
Oops.
Somebody's got a blown engine there.
just trying to pinpoint. So
this is Matty Keen trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, I'm just trying
There
to...
goes Aiden Norris.
Yeah, so we need to be on board with Aiden Norris for the start of that, I think.
No, it'll be Paul Bryan. Paul Bryan, potentially, who was behind Paul Bryan, because that will tell the story.
There we go.
Leaky,
They're
maybe Leaky.
Here we are, they're side by side. This is Hayden Norris and Paul Bryan side by side right before the incident happened.
Oh, so Paul's tried to do is he's tried to squeeze back into that middle lane. He recognized that he was not going to be able to hang out the outside lane, and he missed it by an inch. If he'd have been 5 feet further down the track when he'd moved back into that middle groove, he would have been okay.
Matty Keen, thank you, Andrew Proctor. Matt Keen is thank you for letting us know that Matt Keen has blown his motor and he's used up his fast repairs. That's upsetting for Matty Keen. He has done an extremely good job of getting himself on the podium since he joined our league. So unlucky,
I was
mate.
going to say, it's an extremely good opportunity for Matty Keen to jump in the broadcast booth and call some NASCAR with us.
Yeah, good. Why not?
Tell him. Put the call out. Matty Keen, wanted, broadcast booth. Yeah, we'll handle that one for him if he's interested.
So that last incident, not the one that just happened, the one before that, we've had a end of line for car 5 causing incident with 312, and car 212 has had a speeding in pits penalty issued by iRacing. Thanks to our RC tonight, Stefan Milkcarton McCartan. If you are new to our...
He should be on the side of a milk carton.
There's not what? A face of Shippy?
No, never mind.
I was trying to talk.
It's just, there was a joke in there somewhere and it petered it out. Forget it. I used up all my good ones last night.
Did you really?
Yes.
Were they that good? I think at one point in time in the year I was going to mute your microphone.
You did threaten to mute my microphone last night, yes. But my wife said they were great jokes from the lounge room. She absolutely said how funny and hilarious I am for the people of the internet.
Look, I had a good gig. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. Renee, thanks for getting all the clips for us. That is absolutely awesome. Great to see that you are that much of a fan. You're going to clip some highlights for us. So I will definitely be having to put those into a highlight reel and share them out. So thank you so much. And thank you again for joining us.
So, George Minus is now leading the race.
I just noticed that in his Scooby-Doo wagon. I love this car.
We were just talking to him.
Yeah, we were.
The power of Shaggy compels you.
And that's funny too because he was behind Leaky, and Leaky did say it's not over yet, and there he is, leading the race.
Bad decisions were made by Leaky being behind, following George Minus. He will have learned from that. Get past him as soon as you possibly can.
Well, he did
Look
say
at
he
that.
couldn't keep the truck straight, so...
Well, George managed to get through that wreck. Leaky got through the last one. The last one was probably a bigger wreck. But anyway, we'll settle ourselves in. We were going to talk about points, weren't we?
I think you were until you couldn't work out where the points were.
Well, no, I found them. I did some digging. I did some investigative journalism. AKA went and found the link that I created and the point scores that I've been tracking.
In the NASCAR truck, you know.
Because that is what I'm paid for here, yes, to keep track of the... Look. Ultimately, bad decision by Sim Racing World putting me in charge of anything, full stop. Except commentating.
You sure?
Well, okay, all right. The league has been fun. We will say that much. Points?
It's been awesome. We should probably I think by next season of us doing the trucks together, we will actually know the points of last race and we'll be able to tell our viewers where everybody's sitting at the moment.
Well, Harry Stewart is 2 points ahead of Christopher Tomlin. Chris Tomlin's not having a great night, it should be said. I think he's got a fast repair, so he's going to be really, really careful here. Blake Delaney is in P3. Now, it's 2 points from Harry Stewart to Christopher Tomlin and another 2 points from Blake Delaney to Christopher Tomlin. So it's 2-2-2 for your top three. Then we throw it 14 points back to Kobe Jordan and Paul Bryan, who are both on 183 points. Jared Steen and Bradley Oldfield are immediately behind those guys. Also, only 1 point further back. So 183, 183, 182, 182. It is so tight up the top end of town. And the guy that won your first race of the season, Nathan Schultz, is in P8 with 177 points. Very closely fought by Joel Berkeley, who was at the top end of town from our Dirt Oval race last week. Safety car moves onto pit lane, and George Minus hesitates. Not an inch. He wants to get racing once again. Gets out to an early lead. He'll get down in front of Glenn McLeod. So, Georgie's settled in. He's on the bottom line. He's got no support. Nobody wants to go with poor old George. Somebody go with with George. Somebody support him. Get to that bottom lane.
Somebody go with Paul. No, that's not Greek for Greg, mate.
No,
they're getting close, and the Platinum Team car of Jay has taken the outside line and managed to actually slot himself all the way up into first at the moment.
Who's that one on board with? Nathan Gore,
Yeah,
and he's
Nathan
going to stick
Gore.
the nose outside and look to go 3 wide still. So George will now get the support down in that bottom groove, and the nose gets shoved underneath, so Glenn McLeod will slot into that middle groove as well. So it is just spreading everywhere in these top couple of cars.
Definitely can't say I haven't enjoyed tonight's racing. This has been absolutely fantastic. Can we just run a whole series that's just Talladega every week? This would be a blast.
Well, it's been fun watching cars wreck each other, yes. As for just running super speedways, they do that. There's a few leagues out there that just do that with oval series. It's not my cup of tea. Anyway, Georgie's going to have to get on the back here on the inside. I believe it's Harry Stewart that's on the bottom lane. We will now support Georgie trying to push him along as much as he possibly can, and Jai Schultz slots down to that inside line, and here comes Christopher Tomlin as well, down in behind, dips a tyre beneath the apron, manages to hold on to it. Glenn McLeod's now going to lead that middle groove, and we are 3 wide, all 3 lanes getting used and abused here tonight. Jai Schultz tries to cross over and get up to that middle lane, and that's going to force the car in behind him to try and send it 3 wide. We are now 4 wide in the second position in that row.
The
It is
wobbling.
wiggling left and right. Cars backing out of it at the tail end of the pack. And would you have it? There's still 20 laps left to go. There it is.
Oh my gosh. What a time to change camera. Wow, oh wow. That is near on the whole pack. Absolutely off track. Wow.
I think there are 5 cars who got through that.
Wow, oh wow. I picked that camera change absolutely perfectly.
Word. My word.
Well, that's 7. Wow. Wow.
20 laps to go, boys.
Speedway, super speedway racing is crazy. 4 wide, flat out, all sorts of different aero being thrown off by so many different cars. That little bit of movement and ooh-wee. I don't even know where to start with this replay tonight. I have no idea. So much stuff just happened then. I think we're going to just sort of pick an off track and rewind from there. Okay, well, we're definitely on board here. Oh, yeah, we're... All right, so I think I've picked a pretty good spot. We're up the front here. So we are sitting on board with Nathan Gore in the 159 car, who is up on the top line to your right there. Excuse me. Chopper. Oh,
Four wide entering the corner.
Yeah, 4 wide, just a little bit of movement, and it's bumped him. Just pushed the 62 car down, and then it's just a domino effect.
Now, Glenn McLeod did get through it and then fires in the outside barrier. Christopher Tomlin is okay. Completely fine. Is it Turner on the bottom side? There's a car that's about to spin back across, and I think Turner got through it as well.
Well, Georgie Minus doesn't look like he did. Him and the Tinder car got together quite nicely there. Wow. Oh, the Tinder car coming back down, and that's where it's hit.
So it's interesting. This is pack racing dynamics. So the SLM boys are just saying that they're struggling to maintain it 3 wide. Why did we go 4 wide there? It's not. There wasn't an actual decision to attempt to go 4 wide there. People didn't want to go to 4 wide. Josh Schultz threw a block, and the cars that were right there that he was trying to block just went, nah, don't care. We're just going to keep moving on. So, and there was a whole bunch of cars that lifted out. So it was actually just a force. It was cars that just went, I don't want to be blocked. They had momentum. They were going somewhere. So you need to, but where this all starts, sure, that's where the accident happens down here in turn number 1, I think it was. But it's caused by what happens back prior in the tri-oval.
They are so close. You can see that, yeah, as you were saying, it looks like they want to go 4 wide, but then they were only sat 3, couple of noses out the front, close to the rear end.
Doing its job to keep Josh Schultz just barely on the track. But yeah, it's as simple as somebody just went, I don't want to be blocked. Now, is it too early to be blocking lanes? Would be the question I would be asking. So there's decisions that are being made by all drivers at all time in super speedway racing. Whenever you are super speedway racing, you can make a decision to block. Absolutely. But why would you block with 20 laps to go here? Just be a little bit more settled. Let's just get some green flag racing down. Let's see who can organise themselves. Peter Morris said that apparently he had an interesting onboard shot, and I think that's what you're about to show us. Yep.
Sure is, mate. Oh,
I think this will be Peter Morris's last pass repair. No way he gets through there.
What was that?
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. There's Kai Turner on the inside as well. He got through there fine as well.
I'm going to get a slow. Wow, look at this in reverse. That is chaotic.
So it comes down to one driver wanted to throw a block. Now, if I'm the driver that's getting blocked at this point in time, there's 2 questions that I'm asking. Number 1, why are we blocking this early? Now there are actually good answers to that question. Number 1 could be you're trying to form up with a teammate by covering off one of the lane's momentum so you can get into another lane. That is a good decision. Number 2 is if I'm the trailing car, I either need to check up early when you're blocking in super speedways. I always recommend it when you're blocking, full stop, throw the block early. No problem with blocking. Blocking is a part of racing, but throw the block early. Why? Because people have to react to the block. If you block late and you get punted, you only have yourself to blame. So was the block late from Josh Schultz? I don't think it was. I think it was just the front end of what I would call a late block. It was a very, very early late block. It wasn't an out late block, but it was certainly a late move, and it's the wrong time period to be throwing that. He may have had a lane plan in choice, though. That's the only defending factor. Didn't see enough to go around with that. Number 2, yep, whoever was the other car that was in the secondary lane, which I think was Alan Dawson, has the opportunity to settle in with him. Now, the Riot Sim Racing boys were trying to organise all night long, and they had a few of those lanes covered at that point in time. So they had the opportunity and the decision to make whether or not they could. Now, if Alan Dawson has got a car hooked up to his bumper, he can't lift, because if he lifts, he will just get shoved into that car and he will get turned. So I think that's why Dawson has just made the I've got to go, because if he lifts, he gets turned. So at all stages in that, somebody was going to get turned. It was just where the block was made. Difficult call in terms of mentality. It's one of those ones where I think all drivers have got to do a little bit more to prevent that. Anyway, Peter Morris will lead the field back to green here. Blake Delaney will be immediately behind him. Paul Bryan will have the inside lane. And Greg Leake restarts in the top lane. A whole bunch of drivers will be burning fast repairs on that one. George Minus has gone to the tail end of the queue after leading us back to the previous restarts. It's tricky, super speedway racing. It is incredibly tricky. And the thing is, it works a fair bit better in real life because there's consequences for those big impacts in the wall. I think drivers have always got to be mindful. There is no fast repair. There is no safety buffer.
Which I think it might be down to the last of the fast repairs, right?
Just about, yep. So, anyway, drivers will settle back in. I hope that covers off what some of the drivers are actually thinking from the driver's seat. Because you look at that and you go, that's silly. Why would somebody be blocking at that point in time? But there are a lot of good reasons to do it. Anyway, they're going to form back up and fire it off here in a few moments, and it's going to be the Fishy Boys side by side. Peter Morris has control of the field, gets an early jump, and immediately jumps to that bottom lane from Blake Delaney. So Fishy Motorsports going to form up at the front of the cars ahead of Harry Stewart. Greg Leake has been pinned to this outside line. He's trying to get down in front of Chris Tomlin, and indeed he has now done so. So he will build up a fair bit of momentum. And Paul Bryan, with no support up the front here. Hang on, the Tinder car says, he was just faking it. He wanted Paul to stay up there. He wanted Paul to commit, and he's managed to get Paul to commit to that top line.
Leakey has joined Paul, so maybe Leakey's going to give him a bit of a hand.
Oh, here we
he's
go.
Going to pull out.
Leakey says, I want to go car racing. Indeed, Leakey is going to go motor racing. If Leakey can drop back into this middle groove, they'll actually be quite well formed up. I reckon he should drop down. Indeed, he is. Paul's looking for the support. The window closes, and he won't quite get there from Leakey. And now Paul's got no support, so it's Fishy Motorsports cars on the inside row with control. A whole big chain of cars. You want to get formed up. You want to have as many cars in your lane as possible. Drop in, Leakey. Pick up the draft, my friend. There we go. Stefan Lawrence now running up towards the top end of town. Had some time to build up some momentum, those cars in the outside lane. Now, Leakey went for a Porsche, and he wasn't quite square with Stefan Lawrence. Now he gets forced out on his own, and they are too wide. And constant too wide. Leakey comes down a little bit on that lane. They're wiggling all over the place. Tinder cars looking for space. There's going to be another wreck here if they're not careful. And the cars in that middle groove have hooked up bumper to bumper. And Paul Bryan will get shoved a fair way out ahead now. It clears. Ooh. It rotates down. Leakey nearly gets contact made with him.
It is contact. I don't know if I need to say, oh, wow, that is an absolute mess again. Wow, oh, wow. Is Talladega exciting? Holy smokeroonies.
Holy smoke trucks, I think, at this point.
What a race. Is this what Talladega, like, I've only...
No.
This is not how it is, unless it's like
No.
Arca Break Weekly, right? Like, that's where we're going to see this sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, this is just a lot of inexperienced guys. Like, you've got to remember, when you have a look up and down the field, we've got experienced guys, and we've got a whole bunch of guys that just don't have that experience. So Leakey's hanging around the outside here, and indeed, his best option at all stages here was to actually drop in.
Yeah, we're blinking out on some of these cars here, trying to get a view of what happened.
Oh, that's Gary Redcliffe, I think, that just had nowhere to go at the back. Saliki bobbled a little bit.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm trying, but my timing table's gone all a bit weird. So we do have a bit of a bobble. He's just come down. And just that tiny little bit of clipping, and around we go.
My word.
That is one way to clear a track.
That is a whole bunch of damaged race cars.
Well, talking to Stefan, our lovely race control for tonight, and he did say that it could be either a very short race or a very empty race by the end of the session. But if you guys don't know, we are a league that is open to anybody of driving skill. If you're new to it, we'd love you to come along and learn from some of the better drivers. As yeah. Well,
Super Speedway Racing is it's a very unique skill set. It takes a lot more patience than a lot of people realize. If I was out here in this race, I actually wouldn't go racing until about now, effectively. Now is when I'd start getting the dancing shoes on going racing. I would be hanging out 30th. All I'd be doing is making sure I'm not in the wrecks and I'm staying on the lead. That would be the only thing I'd be doing all night. There's a few guys out here that are just sort of, they're learning, they're picking up their craft. And the thing is, Super Speedway Racing goes wrong in an instant. And it's one car. One car will make a minor mistake and the whole field is there to run them all over. And it takes a significant level of trust. And it is one of the most frustrating things that you can do as a driver as well. Because I don't get it. I just don't understand it. The appeal to me is just not there. I think it is probably the worst set of racing. I love watching Super Speedway Racing in real life. Absolutely love watching NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Truck Series go Super Speedway Racing in real life. Because those drivers have trained for years to get to that level of skill. You move the wheel a tiny little bit in these cars and you change lanes. And when you're traveling the entire race at 250 plus kilometers an hour, you just can't make those sorts of mistakes because these are big, they're heavy, they don't change direction, they don't react quickly. In Indy cars, you can react and you can lift and you can get out of the way. These things, you just can't do it. It's such a unique set of skills. Like I said, it's just something that I've just never meshed with, something I've never been very, very successful at. And it's one of the things that probably takes the most patience because it is, to be a good super speedway racer, you need to be a good pusher. You need to be a good leader. And those are very different skill sets. When you go to any other track, a track that requires throttle control, brake management, these sorts of things, draft management, lane choices, all of those different things decide your race. But they're the same set of skills, whether you're leading the race or whether you're second or whether you're fifth in the queue. In super speedway racing, the skills to lead the queue successfully, consistently, and run ahead are different to the set of skills that it takes to run second in that queue. And they are very different to the set of skills it takes to run in the middle of the pack. It is just such a unique level of racing. You can make 5 spots and lose 5 spots in the space of a few corners or just a few seconds out on the track just because you put your car in the right spot at the right time. That's it. The ability to avoid wrecks in these things is completely and utterly minimal. These guys are heavy. They're big cars. They do not want to change direction. They have a welded diff, which means they don't turn well. The way that they're set up to take the corners at the high speeds means that the lower speeds, they don't have a lot of maneuverability. And it's a unique set of circumstances, racing, And for a lot of these guys, this is the only place they do go oval racing. So it means that they've got their set of skills that take years to master. They're just not there. We get to see all the action in terms of wrecks, but it's just, yeah, it's unique and there's nothing like it.
I can't even comment on that, mate, because your knowledge is so fruitful compared to mine, especially just coming onto the trucks just last season and starting to learn about oval racing, mate. I still can't understand what you're saying.
Well, you got to remember that I only started oval racing in 2020. I want to say about April 2020 was when I started my iRacing subscription, and I actually went oval racing from there. That was my first ever oval race. So
I believe we are back green.
Green, we are, and Paul Bryan will lead the field away. Blake Delaney's going to slot in behind him. Pete Morris is in that top lane. Fishy Motorsports cars are still clean. Is Harry Stewart going to let Pete Morris in? And Pete Morris has got no support in that high lane. Is that Greg Leake that's now up there? Or is that Wade Sheedy? I think it's Sheedy.
It's Sheedy, mate, yeah.
Indeed, it is Sheedy.
Making some
Paul
movements
Bryan
on
moves
track.
out and covers that top lane. Stay in one lane, mate. Just stay in one lane, Paul. Don't worry about covering all the lanes. Don't do it. It's not worth it. There's no benefit.
Oh, there is a huge wreck in the background. A car is in the fence. A car is in the fence.
So Paul wanders up to the middle, the top groove now, and Wade Sheedy's just got a whole bunch of momentum through the middle. And you've got to remember, Paul Bryan is a dirt oval racer. So this is not his kettle of fish either.
And he took out the our first ever season.
Oh!
And we are off and into the wall again. Wow, oh wow. What an eventful night. All right, can I pinpoint where we want to be for this? Oh, wow, that was like perfect timing.
That's
okay.
on Pete, yeah. So what Pete's trying to do is he's trying to follow the lane of drafting cars. So because Paul's moved down to cover this inside lane and take the corner, he's actually better off staying up with Blake. And Pete's tried to follow them down because that's where the cars are trending. And there's
a car.
There's not enough space for 3 cars there.
100%. And this is in quarter motion, guys. So that has happened in a blink of an eye.
Frightening amount of speed.
Yeah, a blink of an eye. He's just made that decision, and it has happened so fast.
And remember what I was talking about earlier as well, like how unique it is as a set of skill set. Paul Bryan, this is the first time he's probably ever led one of these things, a super speedway race. So when you're leading dirt sprint cars, which is what his background is, and circuit racing, anything like that, you do need to use a little bit of blocking. And he's just done what's natural to him. You know, and it's just something that doesn't work in this. Because the thing is, on the straights, he wants to stay straight because that means that the car behind him can suck right up under his bumper and give him a little nudge, push him down the straight. Whilst ever he's changing lanes like that, they can't do it. And Paul won't know that. He just completely and utterly just not be aware of that because this will be the first time that last season was the first time he interacted with these cars. And I'm not sure if he was actually around for the Daytona race. And I don't think if he was, I don't think he finished it. So, because there was only a few cars that did finish that race. And again, it's just little things that you learn.
Well, that's the point of us being a league that wants everybody to come race and learn the craft and get better. There's only one way to do it is get out there and have a race with better guys and learn. Like another great thing about our broadcast is that if you really want, you can go back and watch it and see where mistakes were made.
Sure.
And
And
try
they don't
work
even
out.
need to be your mistakes. One of the best things that a lot of these guys can watch from here is actually watch back all of the other drivers' mistakes that have happened all night long. What's caused this wreck? How was this caused? How do I adjust this? Now, I was actually talking to all of the Riot boys prior to the race, and I was talking to George and Greg prior to the race as well. And I said one of the best things you can do in these cars is actually change the steering ratio on these tracks to, if you're having trouble staying very straight in the corners and on the straights, change the steering ratio down. And what I mean by that is you actually slow down the rate of input goes to the car, because that's an adjustable option within these cars. So we run fixed setups. There's 2 things you can change in these cars. There's 3 things you can change in the cars on a fixed setup. Steering ratio, brake bias, and steering offset. What steering offset is where the wheel starts relative to a neutral position. In these cars, I think 0 is the wheel is dead straight, and then plus and minus is one way or the other. Basically, the wheel will start pointing that way. So those are the 3 sort of movement points that you've really got adjusting. Now, if you know that you just don't have the smoothness on the steering wheel, and you know that your inputs are a little bit more jerky, one of the ways you can cover that off is you'll slow down your steering ratio, which means if I'm at 14-1, I think that's 14 revolutions of your steering wheel equates to 1 revolution of the car's wheels, and 16-1 is 16 revolutions is to 1 revolution. So basically, it means you have to turn the wheel further to make the car's steering rack move the same distance. So it means if you're a little bit more jerky and you're not as smooth, and the Logitech wheels, for example, your entry-level hardware, they're not very smooth wheels. They'll have the gears in the internal mechanisms fighting each other. It will settle the steering down a little bit and actually makes the cars easier to drive. So that's one of the things that the guys can do. Helps them maintain their lines a lot more. Obviously, the real way to get better at that is lots and lots of practice, smoothing out your steering inputs, and it's something that I've put a lot of focus into over the last 3 weeks. Because I was given some instruction in a real-life racing car. And that's the only reason I learned that. So, look, if a lot of these guys take away from tonight is they learn something about how to drive a racing car, that's a win. Bet you learned a whole bunch talking about the technicalities and how this stuff's all built just now, Shibby?
Yeah, well, I definitely take it all on board. Like, I don't just want to be Nathan just here for the ride, Shibby Howard, that's for sure, because I feel like that's where I was sort of heading towards. But no, I love a bit of oval racing. I've gotten behind the wheel, so the more I can take on board, the better it's benefiting me for when I get back out on track. So
yeah, the slower and the easier that you turn your steering wheel in means that you actually get more response out of the car. The one thing that I said, so I was actually lucky enough to drive a Formula 4. My wife bought it for me for my 30th birthday in March of this year. And 20 laps, go out there and drive. And they said in the driver's briefing for that, and the coaching and things that they sort of showed you, was if you've turned your wheel 90 degrees, you've gone too far. That means you've lost the car. Whether or not you've got the car under control at that point, you should never be turning the wheel that far. Because if you're understeering at that point, you're just going to keep understeering. You're never going to get the turn in back at the front wheels. And if you're catching a slide with that level, you're not going to catch it. The car's going to loop around anyway. So once I sort of got that as a frame of reference, and remember, for a lot of people, sim racing is all they've ever done. Motocross prior to this was all I'd ever done. So I'd never gone racing with a steering wheel in my hand prior to simulator racing. So that's not something that I'd learned. And on a motocross bike, I'm full opposite lock. I used to do a whole bunch of speedway stuff on motorbikes and dirt tracking. And it was full opposite lock. So that's how I learned to drive. And that was my experience of coming into driving. A lot of these guys, all they've ever driven is your car in real life. That's it. They've driven from point A to point B to drop their kids off at school, go to work, those sorts of things. That's all they've ever driven. And for anyone who's under the age of 16, they've never driven anything like that as well. That they've never, unless they've driven racing cars. You need a frame of reference to learn, to improve as a driver. And that's one of the things you can do is I've now got this as a frame of reference. If I've turned the wheel that far, I know that I've made a mistake somewhere. And that means that I need to go back and have a think of how I approach the corner, how I set the car up for the corner. If I'm turning the wheel that far, it means I'm probably understeering, which means I'm too fast as we go back to green. And then I can adjust my driving style. Easy. That gave me so many tips. I've found that happened 2.5 weeks ago. I've found half a second a lap just off that one tip alone. Easy. On every road course I've driven since then.
we are green with a much. Oh, we are not green.
No, we're still green.
We're
we are still green.
Oh, he's actually managed to hold on to it and get back onto the track, so it looks.
So the field spread is huge. And now it'll go yellow. No, they're down on the apron. We're going to get away with this. They will stay green. There's no cars coming. So I think that was Peter Morris getting finished off. That was the end of the Sippo-meter.
Oh, no, not Pete.
No, it was Robbie Griffiths. Actually. Because Robbie Griffiths is towed back to pit lane. So that's who it was. Blake Delaney now trying to form up with these Tinder cars in this high lane. Paul Bryan's going to move up here to block the run and go with them. And Delaney was looking for an open lane of air. Now coming back down to the bottom to cover off that inside lane. He's got a huge run. And now one of the Tinder cars has gone right up to the top of the racetrack. We're nearly back to 4 wide again. Delaney's lost support. And that inside lane is formed up again. And Paul Bryan wants to block the run on the outside lane. That is too aggressive. You can't go from bottom to top like that. So Paul's got to calm that down.
These guys are getting very aggressive.
Hang on. Inside lane cars. That is inside lane sim sports on the inside lane. Working together. Kobe Bryant, Kobe Jordan, and Chris Tomlin.
Oh, and we've had a bump in the wall again. We are still green flag racing. This is the last of our pack tonight.
A few laps left here too, and these guys might nearly have enough momentum to completely jump away. And it's going to be Harry Stewart, Chris Tomlin, and Kobe Jordan. And they're going to reform that pack. So Aiden Schultz is sitting in P4 at the moment. Bradley Oldfield is in behind him. And Matty Skulls. Matty Skulls is a lap down though.
Thanks for joining us again, Sarah. She's saying, yes, Chop and Cobes go for a 1 and 2, which I thought we did see this season too.
Chris Tomlin, and they both got on the podium at one point together, but I don't think they were 1-2. I think they were 1-3.
Oh, as
Anyway.
the Tinder cars. I'm screaming through with, who's that? On the back of there, 605. Why is that number not in my timing table? Is that Skulls?
It's Matty Skulls, it is. He's a lap down.
Ah, that's why.
So he's fighting to get back onto the lead lap at this point. He's going to get a bump. They're weaving around the corners. That should trigger a yellow.
That is
Indeed
definitely a yellow.
You know what? You know what that means?
NASCAR overtime.
You got your wish, my friend.
There's just more cars would have been better, but it's been an absolutely crazy night of racing.
Unfortunately, Sarah, it is your boys that will actually get involved in that one. Kobe Jordan has control of the field, though. But who has got enough fuel? Who has filled the car up for NASCAR overtime?
That's what are we up to? What's this called? NASCAR chicken? No. Jesus. I'm calling it NASCAR chicken from now on.
Green, white chicken. You're gonna call it the chicken flag? Anyway,
flag.
Harry Stewart's gonna bobble out of line slightly. Everyone goes wiggling around, and Chris Tomlin actually comes up the track.
And again, this is in quarter speed, so these things just happen in a blink of an eye. Unlucky. I'm starting to clench a little more when these guys get so close to each other, because the speed they're moving at and how close they are, any slight movement is just...
Yep.
It's just a pack ender.
Yep. And it's as simple as, you know, yeah, like I said, you got to remember that when you look up and down through the field, you've got Paul Bryan, this is only potentially his second ever super speedway race. These guys, they don't get coaching, you know, they're not sitting down with a coach all the time being taught these sorts of things, because unless officials are here, they're not getting that experience. Now, Daytona was here last week for all the series.
Sorry, mate, ask that again. Was that a question or was that a statement?
No. So it was more of a statement. It's saying, look, you know, all I've seen is the tiniest little wiggles out of these things. And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to sit down and just badger these guys and say, oh, they're not driving all that well. Well, we talked to, remember, go back to last week's interview with Bradley Oldfield, Harry Stewart, and the third Tinder car. Yep.
Oh, gosh. The one with the same number that should be number 9 that's actually number 11? Is that the one we're talking
No, the number 11 is actually the number 11. The number 9 and the number 69, I think. Or the number 6.
Oh, gosh, man, we should really...
Anyway, the Tinder cars. Joel Berkeley. Yeah, thank you, Nathan Allen. They said they jump in this for a hoot. They don't care. This is what they're doing for a bit of fun. They've got no experience. They're not here. They're just racing to race. You know, they're not here taking it seriously. They're just having a laugh. So of course they're not going to get coaching. They're not going to put the time and effort into these sorts of things.
Again, that's one of the best things about our league. It's like if you've got no experience, come have a race. But you know, learn something, get better at the craft, and enjoy the series as we move forwards with it.
If you're getting ticked off about it, might not be the place for you.
Yeah,
okay.
we are open to all skill levels, and that we want to build our community around that. Look, as we get bigger, it may look like we split off and do Pro and Am in a lot of different series. We just got to get enough drivers for that.
We're already doing that. I mean, if you have a look at the V8 Supercars, Super 1, Super 2, that's exactly what that means.
And the Porsche last season, we had enough people to run Pro and Am.
And it was on the verge of that happening again this season, I think, as well.
And we ran split races for the V8, so...
It comes and goes, and you see that with every league. I'm not fazed by anything that I've seen tonight. What I have seen is the cars moving a meter and making contact. But you've got to learn where to position the car. This is better than I have seen out of a lot of these guys last season. If you remember last season, it was actually a lot worse. There were guys that were just moving completely. They were following the racing line in the corners. I sort of said a few things to them. This is what mistakes were made last season. This is where you improve. It's been better.
It actually has been a ton better. It has been a ton better racing this season than last season. Right, we are down to a very small amount of cars left, but they are all extremely close to each other. And this is going to be our first attempt to get a checkered flag.
A green, white chicken.
A green, white chicken. That's the one. Green, white chicken. Right, if you've enjoyed the broadcast tonight like we have, don't forget we run a broadcast 5 nights a week. Tuesday nights, tomorrow night, we have the 360 Sprint Cars, followed by Wednesday. From Charlotte. Yeah. I've got to get some practice in tomorrow. I'm going to try. And then Tuesday, we have TCR and Formula 3 in one big show. Thursday night, the SR8 and SR10s hit the track, followed by the Porsche GT3 Cup. And then Sunday night kicks off our V8 Supercars Super Show.
I'm actually really curious as to what the racing is going to look like from Okayama on Wednesday night with the TCRs. I'm actually really excited for that because it's tight technical track, but more overtaking opportunities than Hungaroring. You can go too wide through a lot of those corners, and even though they are narrow corners, it is a narrow course. It lays itself out probably just as a slower version of Hungarorings, but I'll expect to see more overtaking. Formula 3s from Interlagos, that will be overtake central with the long front stretch there and the climb up the hill. Radicals heading to WeatherTech Laguna Seca Raceway. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is its actual technical name.
I wish I was racing in the Radicals. That's such a great track.
I will put a little Shibby plush beside me in the driver's seat of in the passenger seat of my Radical.
The Shibby bobblehead, that'd be lovely.
Can you? I mean,
I don't
if
know.
we get enough photos, my wife is crafty enough. She might be able to whip something up.
I think I told you, but I've been brought under a brand name for streaming, so maybe we get some merch happening and I can sell Shibby bobbleheads.
No hat, no play?
Yeah. I love it. Great to see you all out there cheering on your drivers tonight. So thank you so much for joining us as we are about to go green for the first attempt at the green, white chicken.
Yeah, the green, white chicken. We'll get ourselves underway here in a moment. Kobe Jordan's going to lead the field back to green, and it's going to be Delaney who'll try and get a run to the outside. Locke did not get a good launch. It looks like he might have missed a gear shift on the inside lane. And we'll see if they can get themselves sorted out. Abandoning the top lane is Paul Bryan. He will try and get a run down to the inside lane. Remember, we've got to get back to this white flag. Once the white flag comes out, that will be it. We are on the run to home. So if this wreck is going to happen, Brian's looking for the faster lane. Where is the faster lane? He doesn't know. He's got to get connected with Delaney here. Top lane's got 4 cars in it. They're trying to get themselves hooked up. And I want to say it's Joel Berkeley up there, supported by Andy Barber, and Aiden Schultz is up and alongside. So Berkeley's going to come down for some side draft off of Delaney. They're on the run off of turn 4. Now it's towards the tri-oval. They'll hit the bank surface of the tri-oval, and it's back to the start-finish line to grab that white flag. And it looks like there will be one and only attempt. Here comes the run to the top side. Berkeley, has he timed it well enough? He'll take a reading that time by. Now he'll try and slide into the middle lane. Lock's going to get turned. They'll stay green at the moment. So it's a race now back to the checkered flag. White flag has been taken. Who will take it from here? Jordan on the inside. Steen trying to support him. Lap car pulls to the inside. Gets out of the way. Berkeley gets turned. The field gets turned. The only two to get through out of that lead bunch. And now Kobe Jordan and Jared Steen. Paul Bryan's going to go with them, but he's too far back. When does Steen pull out of the draft? Is he going to steal this one? He's going to go for the run now. He gets to the outside. Side drafting begins. He gets away from him on the corner. The momentum is made, and Jordan's not going to win this one. There's not enough time left for him to get another draft. He'll get back down the racetrack, but it's going to be Jared Steen that'll win it in Talladega.
Oh, I held my
And
breath.
Peter Granton will get back for a podium.
Well done, Pete. Oh, man. What even just happened? Can I even find a... Oh. Wow, is all I'm going to say.
Got turned by Barber. But I don't know whether Berkeley tried to throw a block as Barber tried to get a run on him. So I would say it's Andy Barber and Aiden Schultz have been hooked up. They're teammates. They work together. They would have been trying to take a run somewhere, and Berkeley's tried to block it. Is why all that's happened.
That's sort of how I have imagined how a green-white checker was going to finish. Like, if I could have asked for a better one, I don't think I could have. That was nuts. We're going to have a
Christopher Tomlin will finish P5 with his championship lead. He will probably lead the championship after that round because Harry Stewart finished 13th and 1 lap down.
So this, I think we're looking at the first incident when it stayed green.
So we've passed the start-finish line, and that's the important part. And Locke's trying to throw a block here and cover off that inside lane because he can't go higher. And Blake Delaney would not know that they're 4 wide. So Blake Delaney's spotter at that point in time says 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide. So he's driving to 3 wide. He's 3 wide middle, and that's why Locke's been forced to go lower. Because the iRacing spotter can only see, or the iRacing crew chief or any of those sorts of things, can only make a call based upon exactly how many cars are side by side there. And was that Harry Stewart? It might have been. Yeah, it was Harry Stewart, actually.
Yep.
So that's the difference between leading the championship after this race and not. So, yeah, from Locke, he would have never got a call from an iRacing spotter that he was, for Blake Delaney, would have never gotten a call that he was 4 wide or needed to drive to 4 wide. Okay, so I thought Schultz was actually hooked up with Barber. That's an interesting one. That may be on Berkeley. Was that Berkeley? It was Oldfield.
On the top of his car there. Let's do a bit of movie magic again. I need to go up the field.
I think that was Oldfield.
Oh, man. Nope.
Oh, that's not it.
So car number 19 there is Andy Barber, actually.
Yeah, so it's Barber and whoever the car was ahead of him.
Which is car number 9.
So Barber's got to remain square here. What happens to the car that's ahead? Wiggles, he's in the center of the lane coming off of the corner. Barber shapes to his outside. And then Barber tries to come back down to push him and he's not square. So that one's on Barber.
You
so
see
Barber tries...
the fishy car is pushing along Barber as well.
Yep. Which, I mean, you should be trying to do. And the thing from Blake Delaney's cockpit is that Delaney's got no idea that Barber's not square.
Yeah, we've looked on cockpit views before, and you can't see a single thing past that truck in front of you. Wow, oh wow. What a way to finish at Talladega. With a quarter of the field and a green-white checkered.
Remember last year we had cars run out of fuel in the final lap of the race too.
Yeah, we
Or
did.
last season, sorry.
Playing. This is where the chicken came from. Playing strategy chicken. That's where the
That's
chicken
what it
came
was.
from. Yeah, that's where it came from.
Strategy chicken.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. All right. No
Right.
worries. Well, we'll move on to our podium celebration and we'll get started straight away with the 87 driver of Pete Gretton.
Yeah, g'day, boys. What a surprise. I'm just about as surprised as probably you are.
Is that my favourite face of radio right there?
100%.
I'll give Shibby
100%.
the same problem all the time. I see great face for radio today, Shibs.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. I enjoyed it. Great to see you here, Pete.
Oh, what a race. I was giving all the boys shit earlier on, going, nah, mate, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to take this one. And then bloody all hell broke loose. And I'm like, okay, maybe I might.
Mate, podium for LR Esports here. You'll take it whenever you can get.
Hey, sorry, what was that? I just muted the chat.
You'll take a podium anytime you can get them, mate. You got to sneak those anytime they come on through.
First one too, mate. But yeah, definitely take them.
It's tricky here at Talladega. You've been trying to get more and more into your oval racing, so I've heard, and the super speedways, they present a unique opportunity. They're generally known as the lottery of NASCAR racing, and well, are you going to go buy a lottery ticket after that?
Don't need to. I just won, mate. I come third. That's a win for me. No, it's tricky. Talladega's tricky. Be there at the end, and well, that's what we did.
Mate, congratulations on that, though. Good run there at the end. You dodged all the wrecks. That's what it's all about. Pete, go ahead, mate. Your opportunity to thank the sponsors in the 87.
Hey, that's usually my line. Nah, cheers to all the boys in the SkyPoint Discord, of course, LR Esports, and yeah, all you guys are putting it on.
Thanks, Pete. We'll see you again next week. Bristol, you down? The last great Coliseum?
I'm first in that one for sure.
We'll see you next week, Pete. Have fun, brother.
See you, boys.
Well, he's making a little bit of a history of this season. Second time in the podium, and the boys got moving on that inside lane, Kobe. And I just said, have a look at that inside lane. It's inside lane Sim Sports, Kobe Jordan. You were moving Chris along quite well there at one point towards the tail end of that one.
Yeah, we blinked up pretty good there for a few laps. Then got a bit loose there with the other cars around us. Unfortunately, Chris went round.
Yeah, it's super speedway racing. It's the lottery service in it sometimes. You just got to be in the right place at the right time, and the seas will sometimes part. And, mate, when it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it'll work for me tonight.
Mate, tricky season all season long. I'm assuming the goal for you and the boys at Inside Lane is actually to try and get both yourself and Chris towards that top end of town at the end here. You were 14 points back of Blake Delaney coming into this round. You picked up probably about 6 or 7 of those points back over him now, so that margin starts to close. And Chris, I'm looking at it, might be leading the championship after that round. That's teamwork right there.
Yeah, we're looking at who's in front of us and who's behind us, and basically racing those guys when on the track. We're not racing guys that we're not, in battles with championships for. They want the position, they're going to have it. We're just worried about the guys that we're actually racing with for a championship.
So with that in mind, we head to Bristol next week. Bristol's known for causing chaos and carnage, and the tempers tend to flare up at Bristol. You never get a Bristol race or any sort of short track racing without a temper flaring up somewhere up and down pit lane. How do you go into next week managing that?
I want to say stay clean, but you can't, not like Talladega, you can't stay clean. There's nowhere to hide. You've just got to make sure that, you're aware of what's going on around you and manage accordingly.
15-second laps with 30-car fields. That means one car every 0.5 seconds right the way around the track. Is it get your last stop done early and hope for a caution, or are you going to try and be the last guys to pit, stay up front for as long as possible next week?
I think the best strategy is to have no strategy for Bristol and just play the field as it comes. We've got a fair few guys in our Discord, so we run different strategies from our heads as we're racing and adjusting our strategies according to what's going on in the race.
All right, mate. Well, another strong finish for you and the boys there at Inside Lane. The driver of the 80, it's Kobe Jordan, and these are the sponsors that make it possible for him.
So we've got the Sim Racing Edge Setup Shop, GTH Signs, J-Tune Automotive and Mechanical, Staunch Bull Bars, Matt's Car Care, LRA Sports, Sunco Fire, New Holland Construction, On Track Ag, A Carter, and Inside Lane Production.
Congratulations, Kobe. Another solid finish here tonight, mate. We'll have a look at those championship standings tomorrow and see where that shakes you out, mate. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. And finally, I think this is his first trip to the podium, and what a time to make a trip to the podium for Jared Steen, driver of the 91. When the seas parted, you read the race perfectly and timed that run on Kobe Jordan and left him high and dry. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it was pretty good finish there. I'm still shaking.
Mate, it's been a tricky old season, this. It's not been the easiest to sort of read, and the lanes and the traffic have not been easy to read all night long.
Nah, it's been a bit difficult, but yeah, it's the first time I've raced around here, so yeah, it's pretty good.
Have you done any racing at Daytona or the iRacing Super Speedways, or any Super Speedway racing full stop from your stable? Any experience you've got to go back on or anything to lean on it whatsoever?
No, not really. Yeah, no, this is sort of the first series I've done with the NASCAR trucks and a lot of the road ovals. So just bought the track to race tonight. So
How do you
happy.
find it? It's obviously a place that's sort of steeped in legend. Like, this is one of the places that I think racing fans the world over have heard about. That, you know, Daytona and Talladega. You've heard of Super Speedway racing. You've heard of NASCAR. Well, then you've heard of Talladega. What's it like? It's something that nothing can prepare you for.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. You just got to sort of pick the right lane and stay there and sort of hope that everything works out and you don't get checked up or bump into someone too much. Bit of luck involved around this track.
How is it with reading the runs and the checkups in the packs? Because we saw that was the big issue, I think, was just not reading the checkups correctly.
Yeah, I was just had my spotter telling me what was going on ahead, and yeah, just sort of stay in my lane and just keep checking up a bit if I have to, and the field will come back to me, sort of thing.
3 wide racing for a large portion of the night and 4 wide at times there as well. It's, you know, space to wiggle around in comes at a premium, and I think you just found those windows to work your way through. How important is it having that spotter on your side at Talladega?
Oh, definitely, that helped massively. I wouldn't be on the podium if I didn't have Steve helping me out, telling me what was going on around me and that, and yeah, especially at the start of the race there, and sort of in the middle 3 wide, and it was sort of hard to know what to do, but he kept me calm and talked me through it pretty well, so that was good.
I'm assuming that's Steve Cast from Velocity Sim Sports, because I just noticed the logo on the bottom side of the car as well. So he's generally pretty good. It's actually a pleasure to know Steve for a little while now. Actually, as well, he's so supportive of all the guys over there on your Discord too, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He's a massive help. We wouldn't be anywhere up near the front if it wasn't for him. So yeah, this race is for him pretty much. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, driver in the number 91. He's finished on the podium once before tonight in this season. Well, tonight he stamps a win into the second season of the NASCAR Truck Lead. It's Jared Steen, and these are the people who make it possible for Jared.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Velocity Sim Labs and thank the SRT. Yeah, and all the other guys for helping out, and you guys for streaming, and guys at SRW for running the series.
Thank you very much for participating, Jared, because the league does not go anywhere unless it has drivers like yourself participating, mate. It's been a pleasure having you around, and congratulations on picking one up.
Thanks very much.
Nate, that brings us to the conclusion of another NASCAR Truck Series race. From the high-banked, high-speed oval of Talladega, we go to what is just about the shortest track on the circuit. It is the 1 Mile Raceway, known as the Last Great Coliseum, and the driver's nickname, the Bathtub. It's the one where legends are made. If you've ever heard of the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, and his son Dale Earnhardt Jr., you've heard of those names in racing. Well, he was one of the big guys who would always put his stamp on a race at Bristol Motor Speedway, and we get to go there on the asphalt next week. And guess what? It'll be returning to the schedule next season, because that's just coming out, and I can tell you that the dirt race from next season returns from Bristol Dirt next season.
I'm So I'm still breathtaking. I'm still breathtaking at this race tonight. It was a phenomenal show of just what Talladega and just close pack racing and drafting can cause. And
It's
I think it was
all about
everything I
manipulating
wanted.
air.
I'm really sorry, guys, but I think it was everything I wanted in a NASCAR race. We even got the green, white checkered flag at the end there, and wow, what a finish!
You save that replay. You go back and watch that every week, and you've got a very happy Nathan Shibby Howard. He doesn't need Arca Break Weekly. He just needs NASCAR Trucks, Talladega Round 7 SRW once more.
Yeah, just as I said, let's just run Talladega every week and just get more and more cars involved. It just, oh man, but no. Unfortunate to the guys that got crashed out tonight. It is pack racing. That is what happens. So best of luck next week, guys. And as we are getting closer and closer to the end of the series, as we discussed earlier, the top few are extremely close in points. So the finish tonight, I think, is probably going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for some of those guys there. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
No worries. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed everything that we've brought you tonight. Don't forget, once again, that tomorrow night we will have the 360 sprint cars coming to you from the dirt track at Charlotte. All of your action from our primary track this week for TCRs, Porsches, and V8 Supercars is Okayama. Formula 3 from Interlagos on Wednesday night as well. Thursday night, the Radicals will be taking to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. And that wraps us up for all your tracks for all the week. So remember, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, it's always a Sim Racing World night. Proudly brought to you by Warren and Brown for the first time this season, the first time going ahead. The DSL Welding Services NASTRUCKS Series stream sponsor, Pagnian Advanced Simulations. Don't forget the other two sponsors that do make it possible for us here in season number 3 of Sim Racing World, which is Dragon RC and Melville Equipment Corporation. That's your Monday night. That's it all wrapped up, signed, sealed, and delivered. We'll see you again tomorrow night for more Sim Racing World action.
Thanks for joining us. See you next week.